Imagine coming home from a grueling day at the office, only to find your front yard transformed into a war zone. Your meticulously crafted rain garden, a haven for butterflies and bees, reduced to a muddy scar by a roaring bulldozer. There she stands, Karen Whitaker, the iron-fisted HOA president, her lips curled in a serene, self-satisfied smile as if she just won the lottery, flanked by her nodding cronies while your neighbors actually applaud the carnage. But as the machine digs deeper, a subtle tremor ripples through the ground, and I think to myself, oh honey, you've just poked the bear. Or in this case, the hillside, and you have no clue what's coming. Yep, that's me, Jordan Hayes, your average eco-enthusiast turned reluctant rebel in the cookie-cutter hell of Evergreen Meadows, a suburban enclave in sunny California where the grass is always greener, artificially, of course, thanks to gallons of chemicals. I bought this place 2 years ago, chasing that American dream of a quiet life, a patch of dirt to call my own. The house sat on a gentle slope with killer views of the valley below, wildflowers dotting the yard like nature's confetti, and an old pine tree anchoring it all, leaning just enough to look like it was whispering secrets to the wind. The realtor, a slick guy named Mike with a grin wider than his commission check, breezed over the potential drainage issues. Rain? What rain? This is Cali, buddy. Builders got it all figured out. My inner voice, sharpened from years of backpacking through unstable trails and turning rocky plots into thriving gardens, screamed bullshit. That slope wasn't a perk. It was a powder keg waiting for a spark or a storm. So, fresh off signing a mortgage that felt like selling my soul, I dove into the HOA's Bible. The covenants, conditions, and restrictions, a tome thicker than a phone book and twice as soul-crushing. I wasn't about to slap up one of those ugly concrete walls my neighbors favored, turning their yards into fortified bunkers. Nah, I dreamed bigger, greener. A rain garden. Weeks of research later, I picked native plants with roots like iron grips. Goldenrod for the bees, switchgrass to hold the soil, and milkweed for the monarchs. I sculpted berms and swales, not to battle the water but to dance with it, letting it soak in slow and steady. Months of backbreaking work, shovels blistering my hands, dirt caking my nails. But come spring, it bloomed. Butterflies flitted like living jewels, bees buzzed a symphony, and after the first big downpour, I sipped coffee on my porch, watching the water weave through without carving gullies. It wasn't just pretty. It worked. A tiny rebellion against the neighborhood's obsession with perfect lawns that looked like astroturf. I felt like I'd cracked the code to harmony with the earth. Little did I know, in Evergreen Meadows, harmony meant conformity, and my garden was about to light the fuse on a neighborhood war. For a while, it was blissfully ignored. I mowed the front lawn to HOA specs, exactly 2 inches, no more, no less, and kept the garden's edges crisp where it kissed the sidewalk. The HOA, that shadowy cabal enforcing community standards, didn't bat an eye, or so I thought. Subtle jabs started creeping in like weeds in concrete. Old Mrs. Larson, whose roses glowed unnaturally under constant pesticide fog, cornered me at the mailbox one day. Some yards around here are looking a bit wild, don't you think, Jordan? Like they've gone feral. Her eyes darted to my property, lips pursed in that judgmental way that screamed, I'm reporting you. I smiled politely, muttering something about native plants being low maintenance. Then the HOA newsletter dropped, a glossy propaganda rag praising uniform beauty for rising property values. Pages of photoshopped lawns, symmetric hedges, the works. Everything my buzzing, blooming oasis wasn't. Stress knotted my gut. Work meetings blurred as I eyed every mail delivery like it was a bomb. The first violation notice arrived taped to my door, all prim and proper. Dear resident, concerns have been raised about landscaping variances on your property. Please refer to section 4.2 for cohesion guidelines. Variances? That word dripped condescension. I chuckled bitterly to my dog, Max, who loved chasing the undesirable squirrels my garden attracted. They think it's a mess? Wait till they learn it's saving their asses from erosion. I fought back with education, crafted cute signs, pollinator paradise, erosion fighter, even a laminated info sheet with a QR code to my DIY site explaining how rain gardens cut runoff and boosted biodiversity. Stuck it right on the mailbox. Problem solved, right? Wrong. 2 weeks later, Round 2. Second notice. Violations under codes 7.1 and 9.3. Uniform turf requirement and approved flora. Approved? The manual didn't define it. It just assumed we'd all crave chemical green monotony. I pored over that damn book all weekend, highlighter in hand. No outright ban on rain gardens, just smug implications that deviation was heresy. Then came the queen bee herself. Karen Whitaker, HOA Prez, striding up my driveway in heels that could puncture concrete. Her bob haircut, helmet sprayed, blouse starched like armor. I was knee-deep in mulch, replanting after a rabbit raid. "Beautiful day, Jordan," she cooed, voice sweet as aspartame. I stood, wiping sweat. "Sure is, Karen. What's up?" She scanned my garden like it offended her personally. "We've noted your creative yard work. It's enthusiastic. I'll give you that." "My rain garden? Yeah, it's functional, stops erosion, helps downhill folks, feeds wildlife." She didn't blink. "While your hobby is charming, evergreen values consistency. This wild setup could tank values, scare kids, attract pests." "Scare kids? With butterflies?" I bit back a laugh. "Karen, it's engineered, not neglected. It's protecting the slope." Her smile tightened. "Rules are rules, dear. For the greater good." She pivoted and clicked away, leaving me steaming amid my scary flowers. Violations snowballed. Unauthorized features, for my rocks. Excessive growth, for grass hitting 3 feet. Native? Duh. Even invasive plants when everything was local. Karen was pulling rules from thin air, her standards a moving target. Neighbors turned cold, waves became nods. One night, drafting another futile appeal, an anonymous email pinged. "Karen's gunning for yard remediation. Calls it hazardous. Watch for sneaky votes. Not all board agrees, but she's bossy." Chills. Remediation. Sounded like mob speak. Who was this insider? It lit a fire. I dug into HOA history, sniffing out favored contractors, sensing Karen's uniformity fetish hid something shadier. The whispers turned to roars in my head. I probed neighbors casually. "Heard any HOA buzz?" But got averted eyes, mumbled excuses. The online portal? A joke, minutes from last year gathering digital dust. Paranoia set in. Every passing car felt like surveillance. The hammer fell while I was buried in spreadsheets at work. Piecing it later, Karen called a shadow meeting with her yes-men, skipping the 72-hour notice mandate. No alerts, just stealth. My tipster, probably Mr. Ellis, got sidelined. Driving home, I hit the brakes hard. My yard was apocalypse central. Tire ruts like scars, pine roots mangled, swales gouged into trenches. Plants piled like garbage, signs crushed. A worker in a vest shrugged at my fury. "HOA said so, man." Door tape. A $4,500 bill for restoration per standards. Rage boiled. This wasn't error. It was vendetta. They'd nuked my eco-shield for prettiness, blind to the slope's fragility. And oh, the irony, they'd learned the hard way. Disaster crept in with October fog, turning to drizzle, then biblical rain. No garden meant no buffer. Water raged unchecked. My walkway cracked first, slumping inches. Down street, sidewalks spiderwebbed. I snapped pics obsessively. Buckled roads, tilting fences, mud slicks on perfect lawns. The churned soil? A slip and slide waiting to go. I called buddy soil expert Dana Ruiz, who trudged through mud, probing, sampling. "Jordan, your garden wasn't decor. It held this hill. They ripped it out, left loose crap. It's begging for a slide." Her diagram showed saturated layers lubing up for disaster. I fired off warnings. Certified letters to Karen and crew, forum posts with Dana's report. Got a wink from my anon source. "Stirring the pot. Meeting soon." The HOA huddle in the fluorescent community hall? A circus. Karen, in power pink, sneered. Certain folks dramatize tiny puddles. Rest assured we're pros. Landslide talk? Hysterical. Stick to rules, not rocks. Her minions chuckled. I rose to speak, report in hand. "Comments closed," she snapped, ignoring the agenda. "Positive vibes only, Jordan." I stormed out, fuming. Nature didn't wait. 3 nights later. A crack like thunder. Then rumble. Neighborhood gawked. Karen's fancy wall split, collapsing in a mud tsunami onto the Parkers' yard. Fence crushed, furniture buried, her prize beds ruined. She wailed on her porch as muck lapped her feet. Poetic justice, right? Insurers balked. Intentional meddling, not act of God. Denials piled up. Repair tabs soared. Fury brewed. I compiled my arsenal. Pics, letters, emails, Dana's docs. Met lawyer Mia Torres. HOA slayer. Jordan, this is peak stupidity. Let's bury them. The lawsuit hit like a bomb. Destruction, negligence, fiduciary breach, emotional distress. Named the HOA and Karen personally for overreach. Sought damages galore. They freaked, hiring a shark firm on community dime. $50K retainer from reserves. Neighbors already drowning in fixes. Exploded. Their defense? Laughable. My garden violated harmony. Removal essential. Erosion my fault for not rebuilding what they trashed. Mia grinned. They're blaming you for their mess? Delicious. Discovery unearthed gold. Pre-demo, 2 HOA hired experts warned against removal without backups. Reports Karen hid. Board minutes showed dissent quashed by her aesthetic edict. A killer email. Ignore the tree huggers that we'd eyesore goes. Fix later if needed. Looks first. Deeper rot. The restoration firm? Freshly minted by Karen's cousin. No bid $18,000 contract to HOA. Not just my bill. Followed by shady repayments. Pretrial. Mia laid it bare. Courtroom erupted. Judge Elena Vasquez iced the defense. You're defending ignoring warnings? Wrecking stability for vanity? Then nepotism fraud? Karen wilted. Facade cracking. News exploded. HOA landslide. Corruption buried under mud. Flyers demanded audits. TV crews camped. Board crumbled, emergency meet. Karen's scripted oops flopped. Shouts for resignation peaked. She hurled papers, cursed, fled. Resignations followed. HOA gutted, bankrupt bound. But the war raged on. Verdict day. Packed court, tension thick. Mia nodded. HOA side squirmed. Judge Vasquez ruled. Liable across the board. $1.1 million payout, garden fix, slope engineering, fees, penalties for bad faith. HOA insurance? Nope, deliberate damassery. Special assessment. $16,000 per home. Rage tsunami, for sale signs everywhere. I rebuilt bigger. Tiered megagarden. Roots like anchors. Plaque facing street. Slope savior since 2024 Jordan Hayes. Neighborhood thawed. New board with my tipster leading, eased rules, hosted eco workshops. Karen? Ghosted, house sold cheap, scars lingering. I lounged on my porch, rains now tamed, watching new plantings on common land. Stability over sterility. Lawsuits, scandals, Earth's wrath taught M. Battle nature, lose big. But hey, was the HOA the real villain? Or were we all complicit in letting petty tyrants rule? You tell me, was justice served? Or just delayed karma?